Hi there, greetings, salutations. Derek, it's the best. It's Racers, it's Pacers, it's May, it's Indianapolis. We have been longing for this for a decade now, right?
I would be excited no matter what because it's race week.
Of course.
But the Pacers ramps up the excitement. First time Pacers and Racers in 10 years. And regardless of where you go, if you're at Kroger's, if you're at Myers, if you're at Aldi's, people have big smiles on their faces right now. Walking around town. You're out, you're washing your car, Pacers and Racers. You're saying it to your neighbor and to your buddy. It's unbelievable. I'm so excited. You're having a pork tenderloin. You're saying Pacers and Racers.
Would it be as fun if the name of the basketball team was, Fever?
No. Pacers, Racers. Who coined that? Was that like an Ed Sorensen thing? Who coined Pacers and Racers?
That's a good question.
It seems like it would be like right? Mark Patrick.
I would say probably
thing.
Ed, Mark, or Bob and Tom.
Yeah.
It sounds like an Ed Sorensen thing.
That era, though, right? Somebody
For sure.
from that era, because
For
that's
sure.
when it became a thing in the 90s.
Correct. 94, first time it happened. But so here we are. You got Game 3, Pacers and Celtics on Saturday night, 8:30 tip. Game's going to end. You're going to be getting out about 11:15, right?
Yeah. I'll be in the Coke lot of my Snuggie.
You don't do that anymore.
No, I know, but you always make that joke every year. I'll be sitting comfortably at home. I'm rewatching Ozark. I'll probably be doing that.
Ozark, there was too long a delay between seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah, they lost a little bit of momentum.
And it got too here's the thing with Ozark.
Okay, well, I don't want to get too far off track here. We got a really important show to get here too, Jake.
But here's the thing. You got this town of how many people in Missouri?
It's not very big. Yeah.
And literally 50 people die in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No one thought it was weird?
Well, the police department was controlled by the Snells, right?
But even statewide, people weren't like, gosh, this is awfully weird. There seemed to be a lot of people dying in this area.
It's a TV show, Jake.
And there's fields burning.
It's a TV show.
I'll tell you, the older lady, though, the
Darlene?
There was a level of sexiness about her. And the mom was... no, I know, but...
Laura Linney's great. Yeah, I love Laura. I have a huge crush on Laura Linney. Yeah.
The older woman, though, well-equipped in one area. That's all I'm saying.
Darlene Snell?
I think. Is that her name?
Yeah, she was gross, dude. She was sadistic too. She's like a murderer.
Yeah, I didn't watch the last season. I lost it.
Yeah, let's go. Pacers and Racers. All right, back 3, 2, 1. We can get that. I'm gonna think about getting that in post. 3, 2, 1. So yeah, Bob and Tom or Mark Patrick or Ed Sorensen. It sounds like one of those entities.
Game 3 starts at 8:30.
Yeah.
It's going to get out around 11:15.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do both? Race on Sunday.
Yeah.
Are you doing both? Are you going to the game 3?
I'm not. I'm not credentialed anymore. I mean, I could send Michael Preston an email, I guess, and probably get a badge, but no, not planning on being there.
Okay.
I would love to, because the atmosphere is going to be insane, and we're going to talk about all the Pacers and Celtics
let me ask you this,
a little bit.
Is it going to be 1-1?
Yeah, you know what? I think, and you've seen it, the Celtics have had a giveaway game in both of their previous series where they just didn't show up. Miami hit 23 threes in Game 2, kind of a fluky performance, and one in Boston. And then I think it was also Game 2 in the Cleveland series, right? Mitchell had a big game, and the Cavs tied that up 1-1. And then both teams came back, and they lost both of their home games, and the Celtics won those series comfortably in 5. The Celtics have a knack for stubbing their toe. And I think the Pacers are a better opponent than both Cleveland and Miami, and I think that they can even up. I think this is going to be a long series. I don't think the Pacers have the horses to beat Boston, if I'm being honest. I don't.
Yeah, I think most people believe
that. And I understand why the predictions are Celtics in 4, Celtics in 5. That's all I'm seeing. 4, 5. And I totally get that because the national narrative is that the Pacers beat up on a bunch of beat-up teams, and they're very fortunate to be here, and they're kind of crashing the party, to use a Jake Query term, right? Pacers are the party crashers right now. But the reason that I think this is going to be a longer series is because, A, the Celtics have a knack for not showing up in at least one game, and B, the Pacers' home court advantage has been stellar. They've won 11 straight at home. They haven't lost at home in 2 months. I think that alone pushes this to at least 6 games.
Let me read you a couple of stats that my friend Michael Weir, lead singer of the Elect, best band in Indianapolis, going to be at the Rathskeller next weekend. Sent me this. You ready?
Yeah.
Miles Turner, through 13 playoff games. Miles Turner, 46% from three-point range.
It's insane.
And 1.8 blocks per game.
Yeah.
Andrew Nembhard, 57% from the field, 49% from three-point range.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam, 21.1 points per game. Kristen Airy still wants to fight me because I said I'm still not sure I would sign him to a 5-year max.
He closed really strong in that Knicks series, though.
T.J. McConnell, 100% from the free throw line.
Yeah. I mean, T.J. McConnell's been an A++++.
Aaron Nesmith, 93% from the free throw line. Ben Shepherd, 47% from three-point range.
Doesn't feel like Ben Shepherd's missed a three.
And that's Isaiah Jackson, 59%.
And he's been
from
great.
the field.
Isaiah Jackson's been great.
They've played very, very well. And look, it's wonderful. We're going to talk about the race. We're going to talk about the Pacers-Celtics. Derek, what have I said and what's my trademark phrase? And it is trademark, don't try stealing it. Why not Indiana?
Yeah.
Why not Indiana?
Yeah.
Right?
It was my problem with this series was that it was being painted as, oh, the Knicks are clearly much better than the Pacers. And it's like, well, maybe fully healthy, maybe with like Randall and Bogdanovich, and yeah, maybe. But they came into this series banged up, and people were still talking about the Knicks like, oh, Knicks will win in 5. Like Mike Greenberg you had on the show, and I don't think he really seriously considered that the Pacers could win that series. And then when you saw how the first couple of games went, you saw, even with the Pacers down 2-0, you saw that they held their own. They really should have won game 1.
Right.
And they very well could have won game 2. So that's what kind of bothered me about the series was that the Knicks were viewed as like this much better team, and they were, 3 games better during the regular season? And it certainly didn't play out that way. That was a very competitive series. And then, Jake, on Sunday, the Pacers played a perfect game.
Yeah.
They played a perfect game.
Would they shoot 67%?
If you were to script out the best possible scenario where every single player was a 10 of 10, that was a 10 of 10 game. The defensive effort was relentless and incredible. The shooting was incomparable. It was historic. They had 80% of their shots in the first half. They hit 20 of their first 25. And you could say what you want. Well, the Knicks defense stunk. Look, the Knicks didn't cloak themselves in glory in that game, but it's still hard. I mean, Aaron Nesmith, we've seen in this playoffs, he's missed open threes all the time. He made them all on Sunday. I mean, it was the most impressive, considering it was a road game 7 in New York, it was the most impressive postseason performance in the 20 years that I've been around the Pacers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can think of one better. I mean, I've been really following them for 30 because of the Pacers-Knicks.
Well, Derek, I was qualifying for the 500, and I'm up in turn 3, and I'm looking at my phone because literally they started at the same time.
Yeah.
And I look down, and I'm like, wow, okay, they're up 12 early, off to a good start. And then they're up 15. And I told the story yesterday on the radio, but then it's late in the first half, and Shannon sends me a text. It's like, we're up 18. She never says we, okay? We're up 18. And then I said, they need to be up minimum 18 at the half. And she says, well, we're up 21 now. And I said, Shannon, do you remember when the Pacers were playing in Chicago and Reggie Miller hit a shot and bowed at midcourt? And she said, yeah. And I said, and what happened? You told me what happened that day. And she said, I called my dad and was celebrating because the Pacers won. And as she's saying it to her dad, Tony Kukoc hits a 3 to win the game with like 0.8 seconds left.
I don't remember that at all. What year was that?
98.
A regular season game?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And Tony Kukoc says, or excuse me, Donnie says to Shannon, they just blank and beep us, like don't ever do that again, and hangs up on her. And I said, same thing applies here. They're up 21. Shannon, I'm telling you, they got to be up 18 at the half. When New York cut the lead to 6 to start the second half, I thought, it's over. Here it comes. Jalen Brunson's going to catch fire. I've seen this movie before. They had an answer, Derek, for every single run. For every run, they had an answer.
And there was really only one run. It was the one right after halftime. You knew the Knicks were going to come out, and they got it down to, 6? I think.
Yeah.
But they had enough of a cushion, right? I mean, if that was a 12-point lead
once they pushed it back
15,
up again, you knew.
If that was an 11-point lead instead of 15, suddenly that's a 2-3-point game, and maybe it's a little bit of a different scenario. But that's what's so impressive, Jake. The poise, the Pacers don't have, outside of Siakam, they don't have any experience with this. They've never been in a high-leverage game.
Have you noticed Siakam
like
wears like low top, like Skechers shoes?
Yeah. They're not the prettiest.
Siakam wears shoes that looks like he just like stopped by like that one of those like, front rack shoe line or whatever at like Lafayette Square.
They're not the prettiest. But that's what's so impressive about this is that, Tyrese Halliburton and these guys have never been in this, majority of them have never been in a situation like this, and they just kind of held steady. I think really the moment in Game 7 on Sunday where I was like, okay, they're doing this, was the Nesmith make into the TJ McConnell steal of the inbounds pass on Hartenstein and then the and one. And I was like, all right. They extended the lead back to 16, so it was back to what the halftime deficit was. And then I was like, the Knicks are done. They're not coming back from this, and they didn't. There was no – the fourth quarter was a coronation. There was no push even in the fourth quarter. The Knicks crowd tried, but they had nothing left. They had nothing left for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was I thought the Knicks crowd, I'll give them credit, Derek. You would know better than I. I don't necessarily think of this as the Knicks crowd, but they seemed appreciative of the Knicks effort. Instead of booing them off the court, didn't they basically applaud, hey, you know what? I mean, it was
this was, considering how bad they've been this century, this was at worst their second best season, and depending on how you feel about 2013, probably their best season of the 21st century. And they tried. Look, they had – this is not to take – the Pacers took that series, okay? It wasn't handed to them. They had to go out and take it, and they did, and they deserve credit for that. But let's face it, the Knicks had some bad injury luck, and I think the fans appreciated them kind of fighting through that and making it a series where they put themselves in position to win until the Pacers just stomped them in Game 7 and took their will.
It was very reminiscent of yesteryear, which is what we long for, right? That's what I always say. I mean, you go for the fun, the joy, the repetition, the nostalgia of sports. And here we are with the Pacers and the Indy 500, which we'll get to. But now we go to the Boston series like you talked about, Derek. And it does feel like if Indiana's going to get one of those first two, Boston's coming off a layoff, Indiana's coming off. Would it surprise you if they come out in Game 1, though, and are totally flat? Don't you see that in the NCAA tournament where a team blitzes through and then they go into the next round of the Sweet 16 and it's like, what happened to them?
But Boston's on long rest, so I could just as easily see them coming out a little rusty and flat. They'll have 5 days in between eliminating the Cavs and
no
right
Porzingis for at least 2, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect right away. I just think that pound for pound, I don't – when you're here – you have to be a serious NBA title contender in order to win a series like this, right? We see other teams make runs to the conference finals or whatever else. And I don't, and maybe this is wrong of me, Jake, I don't yet view the Pacers like that. Whereas I view Boston like that, I view Dallas like that. I view Minnesota like that. But while I don't think that the Pacers are an NBA championship level team, I do think that they're going to make this a series. I wouldn't be, I guess, stunned if Boston won in 5, and certainly that's the national narrative. But I think the Pacers have been so good at home and just so tough and such a headache to play, and the bench is so – we love TJ McConnell here, right? It's annoying to play TJ McConnell. It's annoying to play Obi Toppin when he's running on runouts all the time. It's annoying for other teams.
Toppin's become a really good player for them. And the thing I like about Obi Toppin, Derek, is that this is a guy that probably, if you look at his role in New York, where he was drafted, I think there was the thought that he was going to be, a frontline starting player. He comes to Indiana. They kind of tweaked with that idea. But Obi Toppin, who you see right there, has accepted the role of off-the-bench three-point scorer and then slash scorer as well, who – seems to have embraced that, and it works perfectly for what they want.
Remember, at the beginning of the Milwaukee series, I think everybody was saying this. I know I was saying this. They need to shorten the rotation. Right? There's no reason Isaiah Jackson should see the floor. Ben Shepherd? What's Ben Shepherd doing getting first quarter minutes? And now you watch the playoffs, and you're like, damn, they deserve to be out there.
Yeah.
They've needed Ben Shepherd.
Ben Shepherd's like the $10 bill that you
right? But Isaiah Jackson, too. Isaiah Jackson primarily has given them great minutes. And then obviously McConnell's going to be part of that rotation no matter what, and ditto for Toppin. I think you'd go at least 7, right? But those other guys have made it 9, and for the most part, it's been good. I mean, the guys that are on the bench, like McDermott, should stay on the bench.
What Pacer are you?
Good. Like personality-wise, leadership-wise,
in general,
looks-wise. I mean, it kind of depends. If it's just on handsomeness, probably McConnell. If it's on grittiness, probably McConnell. If it's on leadership, probably McConnell.
What about leg
If
hair?
it's on skill, it's Halliburton. So one of the point guards I'd probably be. I think Nembhard's kind of a handsome dude. He's got like the braids and he looks like he's a player.
McConnell has excessive body hair, so you got that, and he's like 5'8".
I do have like my legs. Well, I got the dress socks on. Hold on, let me pull down the dress socks. It's a lot. Can you see here? I'll just stretch it up. I'm not very flexible, but it is kind of a lot of leg hair. I've actually got some cat hair. I pet a neighborhood cat on the way, and I think it was a stray. Walked my kid to school this morning and pet one of the. It was a little orange tabby, real friendly. Yeah, and I got like orange cat hair on my leg.
You didn't help the cat?
Oh, I don't know if it's a stray or not. I didn't have a collar, but seemed real friendly. Yeah, so probably McConnell.
Just randomly running into cats and letting them run wild. You didn't check?
Actually, you know what? Build, I might be Neesmith. Like strength.
So what pacer am I?
James Jones. Or, sorry, James Johnson.
Really?
Probably from that era.
Really?
Older.
Don't mess with him.
Thinks they're tough.
Don't mess with him. He's
past his prime.
A little bit crazy, right?
A little bit crazy. You're a little bit weird. I don't think you're crazy. I just think you're a little bit weird.
What?
Yeah.
There's nothing weird about me.
I was thinking about James Jones because I've seen a lot of the, why the Pacers are here. Think about if it was DeAndre Ayton instead of Miles Turner, right? And Phoenix matched that offer sheet with James Jones, former Pacer, of course. But it's interesting, Jake, again, kind of taking like the 50,000-foot view of this season, which you've done throughout. It's interesting to think that the Pacers are here. It's hard to appreciate it in the moment, but you think about all the things that happened that were even outside of their control. I mean, you have to get a little bit fortunate, right, to be in a spot like this. And I think they've had some good fortune along the way, and it's been a long time coming because the Pacers for like 10 years had only bad fortune. They just had a lot of bad luck.
So Pacers-Celtics, you say who and how many?
I'll take the Celtics, and I'll actually say in 7. Because here's how I think it's going to play out. I think Indiana wins one of the first 2 because Boston no-shows, and Boston's good enough to win one of the games in Indy to even it back up. And then I think both road teams win 1, and ultimately the Pacers aren't good enough to win 2 in Boston. So I think they lose in 7.
Okay. What the hell? Pacers in 6.
Yeah. Why not?
Let's go.
At this point, why not?
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm not a gambling man, but
listen, I know that makes me a homer. I'm being a little facetious, but Boston does have a history of giving a game away. And if Indiana's able to hold serve at home, which is a huge task, I think the world of Jaylen Brown, I think the world of Jason Tatum. White has been a really good player for them. I mean, they're loaded. They have a very good team. But I don't know. Why not? Pacers in 6.
Hindsight's 20/20, and people say, well, of course you're saying that now. When the Knicks were up 2-0, the series, it was like the Knicks were like minus 270 or something crazy. They were a heavy favorite in that series. When they were up 2-0, I'm assuming that the Pacers were probably going off like plus 500, plus 600. I did think about, after Anunoby went down, I was like, I should just throw $50 on the Pacers to win the series outright and see what happens, and kind of wishing that I did.
The more likely scenario, depending on which way you want to say it, would be, to your point, Derek, that Indiana gets 1 in Boston, like say gets game 1, you're like, what? Here we go.
Yeah.
And then comes out, and Saturday night, Boston gets it right back and goes up 2-1.
Again, that's what I think is going to happen.
That's entirely
I think
possible.
1-1, 1-1, 1-1-1. That's how I'm going with it. I mean, no one thinks that, outside of Indiana, no one thinks this series is going 7 games. No one.
Yeah. That's fair.
So, now, even me saying Celtics in 7 kind of makes me a homer for Indiana.
Let me ask you this. Who then, the winner of this series, faces who in the finals?
Minnesota.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I think Minnesota kind of went through the war that they needed to, and they learned a lot about themselves in that series. Again, that was a really weird series against
And Dallas is kind of like, really?
Yeah, but we're handing off the baton here. Like the LeBron Warriors KD era is ending, and the Luka Ant, maybe Halliburton era is beginning.
That's
here.
fair.
Yeah, Celtics have just kind of maintained. Celtics haven't really had an era. Celtics have been good for like 10 years, I feel like. But they've been knocking on the door for a while, and this is their opportunity.
You know why the Celtics need to win?
Why's that?
So that then Brad Stevens can come back and coach Indiana.
Yeah.
Or Butler.
Yeah. My father-in-law would be happy.
or Butler? Your father-in-law?
Not with Brad Stevens necessarily, but with the Celtics winning. He's a huge Celtics guy.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. My brother-in-law is,
Which one? The one that wants to fight me?
No. That's Dan. Dan likes the Knicks. Dan was texting me about the Knicks. Yeah. All my high school friends are texting me about the Knicks.
What does your father-in-law say about the Celtics?
They're just in shambles about it. He just loves the Celtics. He loves the Patriots, Celtics, Sox. Celtics are probably his number 2.
Okay.
So Sox, Celtics, Patriots.
Does he know you've met Larry Bird?
Yeah. Larry Bird. I have met Larry Bird before. I've also met Christina at Hoagies and Hops, who is almost as famous here in town. We have here our Hoagie and Hero of the Week. This is the good stuff. The Hog Island. This is the Italiano. You have some Prove, some L, some T, some oil.
Lettuce and tomato.
And then you have the meats. Little prosciutto, little gabagool. Really, really good. Little salam.
And beautiful, by the way. Perfect for right now, the 500 miles high. 500 miles high, baby, from Chili Water. The light American lager that says Indy 500. The month of May is here, baby. And Chili Water is on board. This is the perfect race day beer, Jack.
That's totally agree with you. Completely agree. Where's my beer? Oh. Great track beer.
Perfecto. That is good.
Max at Chili Water Tap Room was there when I was picking up.
Can you not get that open?
Sorry. And he said, this is the perfect choice for this week. And I said, obviously, no brainer,
question.
right? I'm surprised they weren't already sold out.
I mean, that is smooth. It is light. That is all day.
Oh, yeah. Stick it in a cooler, strap it on your back, hop on your bike, get down to the track. That's exactly what this reminds me of. Hero of the Week.
Are you riding your bike to the track again?
Oh, yeah. I'll never drive again. I'll never drive again to the race. You could go in so many different areas. I mean, I think we did TJ McConnell last week. We could easily do him. Tyrese Halliburton was great. He was great after game 1. He was great in that series. The guy that I think maybe not fell under the most scrutiny, but was under the microscope in this series because we're really trying to evaluate what he's going to be for the Pacers going forward, I think is Siakam, and I think he rose to the occasion. First quarter and a half of that game against the Knicks, he was pretty much unguardable. I mean, you saw clearly that Anunoby he could get out there and shoot, but he couldn't move. He was really, really limited, so he couldn't do anything, and Siakam took advantage of anybody, Josh Hart, anybody else that was guarding him. I think he was the steadying force that the Pacers needed to lean on. They're not here without him, clearly. I mean, they're not even – they wouldn't win a series without Pascal Siakam. And so we'll have plenty of time to discuss the contract extension. Should they do it? Should they not do it? Or if they do it, then criticize him later on, of course,
right,
because that comes with the territory when you're a big-level player. But in the scope of this year and making this trade and making this team better right now, he has clearly made them better and been a crucially important piece.
That's fair.
So he's my hero.
I think you have to put Halliburton in the mix for his Game 7 performance.
I think Rick Carlisle deserves to be.
Rick Carlisle
I think he pressed all the right buttons.
Halliburton was too inconsistent throughout the course of the series, though, to be able to
That's
get
fine.
like that.
That's fine.
But when it mattered most, he was there.
Largely, he was terrific, and he shot the ball great. So I'll give him that. Defensively,
Are you nervous for today?
What do you mean?
Well, we have to go MC the fastest rookie lunch in.
Yeah. No, I don't really get nervous. I get nervous when I'm in enclosed areas or when I'm around birds. But I don't really get nervous with, like, public speaking or girls or anything like that. Like, I don't...
Girls?
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time around girls?
No. But I mean, just in general, like in my history. Like, I've always just been kind of a really confident person. And I know people, not everybody's... some people are listening on podcasts, but when you look, you're like, yeah, of course, he's got a lot to be confident about. But I don't really... doesn't really throw me.
You look kind of like a troll. So is that where the confidence of talking to girls came from, because you had no choice but to appear confident because there really wasn't a lot else exuding there?
I don't know what that means.
Compensatory confidence?
I don't know what troll. I don't know what you're trying to say.
You look like a little fella that lives under the bridge.
No, I don't think people think that. I know people factually don't think that. Yeah. Like, there is something, kind of I got a little bit of the salt and pepper going on. The beard looks good. My face is very symmetrical. I have a lot of the things that human beings are attracted to.
You took a picture of yourself after the
Body
two-seater
hair.
ride?
Body hair, that's a good one.
After the two-seater ride, you took a photo of yourself.
Yeah.
And
the helmets were too small. Yeah, the helmets were too small. That was a little bit of a problem. I flagged that
your
for
head,
IndyCar experience.
Your head is massive.
Yeah, the helmet was too small. All the helmets
The helmet fits Peyton Manning.
We tried 4, and that was the biggest one that they had, and they couldn't.
Do we have the photo?
I mean, I tweeted it out. Vince says he's getting it, but yeah, it was.
Your head.
It's not really something to like make fun of. It's just
in racing we have what's called drag. They're like, oh yeah, they got drag on the car. You had drag on that car.
Drag on the car?
Like the car doesn't go as fast aerodynamically because of your ridiculously large melon.
Well,
your head is huge.
Gabby Chavez was the driver. He didn't say anything about drag.
He probably enjoyed it.
We got up to 180.
He was probably texting while he was driving you because he's like, yeah, I can't go any faster anyway.
It was pretty sweet. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for bringing that up. I know you're kind of mocking me, but it was cool to get to do the two-seater ride again.
Did you think about what it would be like to do that with 32 other cars on the track?
I can't imagine with the heat either. And I'm not real big on, once they get you in the car, and I'm a little guy, right? Once they get you in the car and they put the visor down, it's very like, and of course I had the helmet that was 4 sizes too small. It gets very claustro, and even if you're not claustrophobic, it gets very like, I can't imagine doing that.
Rick Mears yesterday told me the story about his rookie year at the 500. He got in the car and he was looping his helmet, and he missed one of the loops, and they started to go out, and he's like, and all of a sudden the helmet starts raising up.
Oh no!
And he said by like lap 5, he's like trying to see through the helmet, and finally he had to radio in and say, guys, I got to come in. The helmet's off.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Look at the size of your head.
Yeah. This is the skin irritation from it was pressing on the
Your head looks massive there.
Forehead, yeah.
That's a problem.
But what I'm saying is, look, I do have look at
all the wrinkles, too.
I do have a large head. What I'm saying is that there are a lot of people that would love to just see that zipped off, that fire suit.
Your head?
No.
Yeah,
they would just love to zip that off. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell this story. Let's move on to the next thing.
About somebody zipping off your fire suit?
There was an occasion once where I was in college and we were playing, we called it Beirut in Connecticut, but beer pong out here. And we used to wear throwback jerseys sometimes where we wear beer pong. We play beer pong like my roommates and I or whatever else. And I put on a Larry Johnson jersey from when I was like 15. The problem is I could get it on, but I couldn't get it off. Somebody else would have to, so I'd have to lift my arms up and somebody else would have to take off the jersey. And I wasn't expecting anything to happen that night, but my roommate's lab partner, who he kind of had a thing for, was over at the house. And then one thing kind of led to another, and someone had to take that jersey off for me.
And the lab partner did?
Yeah.
And what was his name?
No, it was, yeah. Don't worry about it. Sandwich is really good.
Okay. I'm sure that a Larry Johnson jersey that's too small during beer pong is the ultimate aphrodisiac for a lab partner.
One thing leads to another, man.
Okay.
One thing leads to excuse me. You know how it goes. Or maybe you don't. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe you don't know how it goes. Indy 500 storylines. Race preview. American Dairy Association, Indiana, winner of the week. We're going to chug some milk. We're going to talk some racing. We come back. It's Corey Schultz.
Best week of the year.
No more hookup stories. ISC Sports Network.
Yes.
Hey, which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network, alongside Jake Query. I'm Derek Schultz. Thanks so much for joining us. Want to talk about Bailey and Wood real quick.
Love them.
855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. Bailey and Wood Financial Group, 5-star customer service, 18 Indiana branch locations, and Mike Bailey and the rest of their team are going to take great care of you, whether you're looking to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Housing market's tough because the stock is still low, right? A lot of people locked into lower mortgage rates from COVID and from all of that when interest rates were in the 2s and in the 3s, and they're not selling, so the inventory is low for home buyers. So if you want to be competitive on the market and you're looking for a house, you got to get that pre-approval for the mortgage. You can put in that offer right away, and you can do so with our friends at Bailey and Wood Financial Group. BAWFG.com, 855-350-HOME, and we really appreciate them being the presenting sponsor of the show.
They're the best.
Let's talk racing. A great race weekend. I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine, Joe Ball. Do you know Joe Ball? He used to work for Indy Monthly.
I do not.
Bearded guy, nice guy. They really tinkered with the qualifying. Remember the Firestone Fast 9?
Is he related to the JAR people?
I don't think so.
Okay. So he's not related to the university people?
No.
Okay.
They really tinkered with the qualifying format over the years, right? We've had Fast 9, we've had Saturday, we've had Sunday, we've flipped it around, we've had it both the same day. Am I right in saying it feels like they've found the formula?
Yeah, they just need to stick with that so that you have the consistency of understanding how it's working.
Like the last row shootout, I love the Fast 12. I love how they segment it Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
I think they have found the right formula for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'll never be what it used to be because you don't have half a dozen cars getting bumped anymore. But I think for what it is, and it sucks. It sucks to be Nolan Siegel, right? It sucks to be the one guy that doesn't make the race.
Well, here's the thing. You always know going into it, you can look at it and say, okay, who's going to be the one that doesn't get in? But there is always, and this is kind of where the storyline comes in, there's a big team or a big-name driver that just for whatever reason in that month is just missing it.
Or they wreck, right?
In Ericsson's case, in Graham Rahal's case, just off, right?
Yeah.
And then Nolan Siegel. And now what I was surprised by, I thought, and I get that there were probably rules why they couldn't do this, but for those unfamiliar, in the final hour of the 11th row shootout, you had 4 drivers, Catherine Legg, Nolan Siegel, they are teammates, Graham Rahal and Marcus Ericsson, who were vying to make sure that they were not bumped. Okay, they were vying for 3 spots, 4 cars. Nolan Siegel had gone out and had a qualifying run that very clearly was not going to be fast enough to stay in the 11th row, assuming everybody went out and made an attempt. Marcus Ericsson went out, was very fast, but on the 4th lap mistimed it, thought he was done, went way off the throttle, and that dipped his 4-lap average down, meaning Marcus Ericsson still had to go out and do a 4-lap run. As they were sitting there and Nolan Siegel knew that he was way off the pace, I was curious why Dale Coyne Racing did not go ahead and send out Nolan Siegel with Catherine Legg just behind him to go turn laps just to kill the clock so that Marcus Ericsson did not get a chance to go out and qualify. They let Ericsson go out. And maybe there's a legality there. I don't know. We were talking about it on the broadcast, and even Davey Hamilton's like, it seems like that's something they could do. But they didn't, and Ericsson went out, put himself safely in the show, bounced Siegel out. Siegel went out to try to make one last valiant effort. On the first lap, it was obvious he didn't have enough speed. Then he really went for it, spun the car, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Is okay, but disappointment.
He went put in the fence, put in the show, right? And he put in the fence. So that ends up happening when it comes to that. How about the Penske drivers? Oh.
Very solid. First time since 1988 that Roger Penske has all 3 cars on the front row, and it comes with Scott McLaughlin, the pole sitter, and then Will Power alongside him, and Joseph Newgarden on the outside. So New Zealand, Australia, and the United States of America in row number 1, with all the controversy that Penske Racing went through with the push-to-pass scandal and Long Beach suspensions taking place after an internal investigation. Scott McLaughlin said that human capital is the biggest asset of Penske, and they showed depth there in the fact that they were still able to go out and put together unbelievably fast cars. Now, there's what's called the plenum issue, Derek. This is pretty esoteric, I realize. But
Got a
essentially,
lot of coverage.
it did.
Yeah.
So what that means is the following, and I'm going to put this in very layman terms, okay? On top of the engine for the Chevrolets, you've got like the cylinders, okay? At the very top, there is a mechanism on the engine that takes air off of the air that's being compressed off those cylinders. It goes into this little vacuum. It swirls around. If a small bit of fuel gets in there, it creates an instantaneous small fire, okay? That air is supposed to go back down into the cylinders to create an additional boost pressure. If there's a little bit of fire that gets up into that little reservoir, the engine is smart enough to know we can't send that fire down to the pistons.
So it shuts down.
So it shuts itself off for a split second. This happens with the drivers when they're doing a shift. All of a sudden it creates this little spark, and the engine goes, whoa, not supposed to do that. And the driver goes, what just happened? You have to then punch the accelerator, and it fires it back up instantly, and you get going. But it's a hiccup. It is an engine hiccup, and it comes from the fact that Chevrolet is pushed to the absolute limit. How's that going to impact the engines late in the race when they've been going for a long time? That remains to be seen. We don't know the answer to that. Chevy clearly faster than the Hondas, though. The Hondas right now, to me, that look the best in the ability to pass people and in race setup, Colton Herta, Scott Dixon, and I think you would then have to say Alex Palou. Kyle Kirkwood has a strong car as well. But if I was going to wager on a Honda to contend for the race in the end, I would go with Colton Herta.
I hate to say this because part of what I love about the 500 is that we do this every year where we feel like, half the field, it's not outlandish to think that they can win the race. Would you say that the drivers that have a real chance to win this race because of the clear advantage that not only Chevy has, but the Aero McLaren cars and the Penske cars have, is it in the single digits?
Yes.
And you wouldn't say that normally, right?
Correct. That's correct. I think this race, assuming, unless there's major attrition, rain, or like a Kevin Kogan level accident at the beginning, it comes down in no particular order to I'll put them in numerical order. Car number 2 of Joseph Newgarden, car number 3 of Scott McLaughlin, car number 5 of Pata O'Ward, car number 7 of Alexander Rossi, car number 14 of Santino Ferrucci, car number 17 of Kyle Larson, and then right there, like on the outside of that, with weird things happening, using a little bit of help, would be Colton Herta, Scott Dixon, Alex Palou, and maybe Kyle Kirkwood. There you go.
Like, it sounds crazy, but like I don't know if Marcus Erickson, who really should have won the last 2 races, can win this race.
Correct. You're correct.
Right?
Yeah, he doesn't have the horsepower from where he is starting to move his way.
Which is insane. You would never say that. I don't know if Elio Castroneves in a Honda can win this race. And it's Elio Castroneves.
Elio's another one that I would say with weird stuff can happen because I think he's very confident in his car. But a lot of that's going to come down to radar watching as well.
Yeah. And maybe that will lead to a better finish because the top 8 or 9 cars are just so good.
I did hear a funny story yesterday because this does happen, and it may happen late in the race. About the 2007 Indy 500 when Dario Franchitti was running towards the front of the field, and his race strategist got in his ear and said, Dario, like you're P4 right now, which means 4th place. You need to get up to the front because we're looking at the radar and there's rain in Brownsburg. So Dario punches a little bit and said there's kind of a second of, a lap or so of silence, of tension. And then Dario radios back in. Where's Brownsburg? He had no idea. He's like, I had no idea where Brownsburg was. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, are we talking about like Brownsburg's like in Illinois? And they're like, no. Brownsburg's like on the other side of Georgetown. You need to get going. So then he said he takes the lead and they get in the radio and they said, all right, you did a good job because the rain's 4 blocks away. And then boom.
And then it hit.
Yep.
And then they finished under yellow.
Correct.
Have they had a weather yellow since 07? I know they finished under yellow because Sato hit the wall in one of Dario's other wins, right?
04 finished under yellow with
that was the tornado was coming through.
Correct.
Yeah,
no, I think
skies
you're right.
turned black.
I think you're right. Have not.
I don't think we've been pretty lucky. Just saying. We've been pretty lucky.
Right here.
Can you hear it? Are you picking up levels, Vince? Yeah, okay. I'm knocking on wood while I'm doing that. Who's your race winner?
I've said for months, I was at an all-star event weekend, and Tim Cendrick was there, and I said to Tim Cendrick, you know who I think is going to win the race? Scott McLaughlin.
Wow. Okay.
But he's on pole.
Yeah, so it's lame to pick the pole setter.
Correct. I'm having a hard time ruling in my head Rossi out of the mix. And I'm having a hard time ruling out Pato O'Ward. But I think unless he gets too aggressive on a late restart, it's going to be another guy from McLaren. I think Kyle Larson wins the race.
Wow. Okay. See, another guy that, and look, Kyle Larson's one of the best drivers.
The only thing
in the
that may
world,
hurt Kyle Larson is the fact that it's not a full-time team.
Yeah,
changing.
And Kyle Larson hasn't been. I don't care how good you are. With 10 laps to go, if you're P1 or P2 in the Indy 500, if you've never done it before, you've never done it before.
Yeah, but that guy on an oval late in the race,
he's as good as it gets, right? But again,
he is.
You haven't done it until you've done it. I'm just saying. I also think it's going to be one of the McLaren cars, and I'm leaning towards O'Ward. I think Pato's going to be my pick, and I think Rossi's got a little bit. It's weird to think that it's been 8 years since that win.
I know,
and he's had some good runs, but he's also had some forgettable days where you've kind of forgot that he was there. It feels like we're returning back to the 2016 to 2019 version of Rossi, where he's got that kind of swagger a little bit again.
He does.
And he's kind of PO'd. It seems like he's upset.
He is.
Even though he's had a great month, I think, this point. And when he's got that edge, that's when I like him. But I think it's going to be – I'd be really surprised if it's not a Penske or a McLaren car. I know I'm not going out on a limb, but I don't think the Ganassi cars can – and we've seen this with Penske. What did Newgarden start last year? Didn't he start like 17th?
16th, I think.
Yeah.
17th, yeah.
So we've seen this where qualifying and then race day was different, but I just don't think the Hondas have
Derek, did you see my tweet about Rossi's win in 2016? That always marvels me.
I don't know which one you're talking about now.
And Dan Weldon in 2011.
I think I have you muted.
It's kind of stuff you're missing out on here.
But go ahead. Hit me with it.
This always fascinated me.
Yeah.
2011 was the 100th anniversary running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. The track began in 1911, of course. And in 2011, the race was won by Dan Weldon, driving car number 98 in a Herta Autosport, Brian Herta Autosport machine. Brian Herta was the owner. Curb Agajanian was an assistant in terms of the ownership of the car. And Dan Weldon won the race because J.R. Hildebrand, a rookie from California, seemingly had the race in hand, but he hit the wall in turn 4 because he had to go high to get around the car of Charlie Kimball, who was a rookie from California that was running out of fuel. And as a result, Hildebrand had to go high to go around him, hit the wall, and Dan Weldon got Brian Herta Autosport the win in car number 98. That was the 100-year anniversary of the Indy 500. In the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, there was a guy in car number 98 that was owned by Brian Herta Autosport with Curb Agajanian financial assistance with it, that was coming around turn number 4 at the end of the race very, very slow because he was low on fuel. That driver was Alexander Rossi, of course, who got the win in the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 in car number 98 for Brian Herta Autosport. And mind you, that Alexander Rossi was a rookie from California. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, not bad. I mean, that's a very Jake Query tweet, but not bad that you would know all that. Not only not bad, really, really good, especially after workouts. Chocolate milk from our friends at American Dairy Association Indiana. It's time for our winner of the week. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it looks like there's some milk stain on the side here.
That's okay. It's all good.
It is.
It's all good. Winnersdrinkmilk.com, of course.
As much spinach, as much vitamin A as what, Derek?
2 cups of spinach.
Thank you. As much protein as?
A hard-boiled egg.
And as much calcium as? As much potassium as?
A banana.
Correct. Perfect post-drink workout. And, of course, the greatest tradition in all of sports. On Sunday, the winner of the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race will take the famous swig of milk. Whole, 2% or skim milk. It is the greatest tradition of sports. It began with Louis Meyer. It continues to today. And the rookies always have to not only go to the fastest rookie luncheon. They don't have to. They love doing it. But they'll milk a cow. They'll milk a dairy cow because Alexander Rossi did that as a rookie, and he won the race. So the tradition continues.
Winner of the week, Scotty Mack, right? Mm-hmm. Been kind of a rough year for him. Had that podium finish disqualified at St. Pete.
Grew up on a dairy farm in New Zealand.
Yeah, he did. Because of that push-to-pass controversy, which I know brought them a lot of negative pub. Took a DNF at Long Beach. He's only 6 in points so far to the season. But he's really struggled here. No top 10 finishes in 3 starts. He hasn't particularly qualified well before this weekend. His best qualifying run was 14th. So I think this is really the chance. I mean, he's an incredible driver.
Derek?
I think this is the chance for him to really contend for the first time in this race.
14 oval starts in his career in IndyCar and 5 podium finishes in those. He's knocking on the door, buddy.
He's knocking on the door. I don't think he's going to win this race because I don't think you're ready until you're ready. Like I know we just talked about Alexander Rossi, right? But clearly that's the outlier for somebody to come here first time like that. And McLaughlin still hasn't been kind of involved in contending. I do believe that you need that experience of contending for the race win before you can do it.
Okay.
In most cases. But he's going to be right there, and it certainly wouldn't shock me if he won. I mean, he's got a great car, and he's a fantastic driver. WinnerStreakMilk.com. In fact, after this timeout, we'll come back with a conversation with Alex Neuenschwander and Abby Herr of Her Dairy. They are the milk presenters this year, and Jake and I caught up with them a couple of days ago in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Media Center.
You had that huge head and the little microphone.
Yeah, we had little mics. Little tiny mics. But that's okay. We're going to bring you that conversation next. It's Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
We are at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Derek, you brought the microphone, right? This is clearly your microphone because it's the smallest microphone I've ever seen in my life.
This is great. It's compact. It's really easy. You can throw it right in your pocket. It's nice. It doesn't weigh anything.
It's the Derek Schultz pocket-sized microphone. Perfect. It's very exciting. We're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is. You have one too, right?
It's great. Yes.
It is nice. Okay. So, Derek, this is a tradition unlike any other, right? I mean, there's the Masters, and then, of course, there is the greatest tradition in sports, the milk tradition, which includes, hopefully, are we doing a chugging contest?
We can. I guess that's up to you guys. Alex, I know you just refilled it.
I would be happy if you guys would chug it.
That's a lot. That's a lot of milk.
This jug of milk clearly is Query. This one clearly is Schultz, along with the little miniature microphones that you brought.
That wasn't planned, guys, right? That was just it just happened to be that way.
It's just the bottles we have.
Alex Neuenschwander here. Yeah. We have Abby Herr as well, Hair Dairy and New Hope Dairy. Bluffton, as well as Kendallville. And Jake, I know you usually like to quiz our milk presenters on trivia facts. I have a trivia for you about Kendallville. Which great athlete who you really enjoyed talking to on the show, one of your all-time favorites, calls Kendallville, Indiana home?
I am slightly insulted that you would not immediately realize and recognize that I would know that former Purdue Boilermaker, Sacramento King, and Indiana Pacer, NBA All-Star Brad Miller is a native of Kendallville, Indiana. Anything else, Smarty Pants, you want to answer?
I really thought that
what's the name of the interstate that circles around Indy?
I'm sorry. I really thought that we were going to get you that time.
Indy 500. Okay, I mean, what else are we doing?
Let's talk dairy farmers instead, guys, and dairy farms as well. Alex, this is your second go around here at the world's greatest race, the world's greatest racetrack. So you're going to get to experience this again of handing the milk to the winning driver. But kind of take us through your day as a dairy farmer, because I know you guys start early out there.
Oh yeah, so my day is I get up about 5, get to the farm about 5, and that's my favorite part of the day. I'm walking around with coffee, looking at my cows, making sure that everybody looks like they're doing well. So yeah, my absolute favorite part is getting up and get going and make sure all of our cows are doing good, and then from there, just taking care of the ones that I need to. So it's my job is all about taking care of my cows.
What's cool about you, Abby, speaking of taking care of the cows, I know you guys are active on Instagram.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people think, well, the dairy farm, they're just pumping the milk out for the cows and whatever, right? But you create these personal connections. You have names for all the cows, and you guys really care for these animals as well.
Yes. I love making pets out of the cows. My husband, maybe not so much.
That'd be me. A pet cow. I want a pet cow.
You know what? I have one named Franny that we're keeping just as a pet.
Really?
So, yeah, we're going to have her for our tours. Because
can I come pet Franny?
Yes. We would love to have you come pet tour. Or come pet Franny. My goodness.
I love it.
I'll have to show you a video of her after. She's
Okay.
very beautiful.
Well, apparently it's on social media, right?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Instagram account, Her Family Dairy,
Yeah,
right?
Her family.
Her dairy farm.
farm.
That's right.
Yeah,
Her dairy
we're the
farm.
fourth generation, just like Alex is, and we're raising the fifth generation. We have 2 little girls, so it's awesome to be a part of this and be able to hopefully inspire them.
Now, have you experienced this place before this week?
I came down last year to the race.
Gotcha.
And it was electric. So actually, my family, my grandpa started coming down here in the 60s and stuff, and they were always buying seats and stuff on turn 4. Every year they were doing it. But this is my first time, handing out milk, obviously, and being a part of this whole tradition. Well, last year was, but yeah, it's super
So are you
exciting.
guys nervous about this? I mean, I'm holding this right now, and I'm a little nervous because this is like it says winning driver, Derek. You see this right here?
It's sharp.
It's got the logo.
It's got the logo superimposed.
One looks huge in your hand, by the way. Have you noticed that? That's one of the real perks of you holding it.
I think you're thinking of other things that look really big on the camera.
No, I don't think so.
No big
But anyway, are you nervous about this situation?
I mean, so last year I was, came down as the rookie, didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Yeah, it was like, what is going on here? People love this. People were clapping for us. They're like, hey, I want a picture with the milk. Give me an autograph. I'm like, that's okay. I'll get you guys autographs.
Love it.
Then so I am nervous, I guess, because this year I'm gonna give it to the winning driver, and that's it's an amazing tradition.
You don't want to fumble the handoff.
Yeah, there's some of that.
Yeah.
3 bottles, right? Because you go owner, crew chief, and driver. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then they have their choice, which has already been selected. Whole 2% skim. Derek, which would you go with?
I would go whole. I think you have to keep the tradition alive, right? Because it was originally buttermilk, remember, with Louis Meyer.
Louis Meyer with the buttermilk, right? And then, Now what's the most commonly requested?
It's usually whole milk is the most commonly requested. The official poll hasn't come out yet. It comes out Tuesday, but from what we've heard, whole milk is at the top.
It looks good in the photograph. You know that, right?
And I think Ed special requests Ed Carpenter buttermilk, does he not?
He's a traditionalist.
Which is cool. Which is cool to do that as well.
Are we chugging this, Derek?
You want to? Should we start right now?
I think you guys should check.
I was gonna say, and I think obviously winner's drink milk.
Oh yeah, winner's
definitely
definitely
need
drink
to
milk.
say that. So.
Of course, winners.
Oh, here, let me pop that for you. That's my job.
Do you want to hold my mini microphone here?
I can pop that.
Oh, I would
I'll take that for you.
All of sport, right? We know
Yes.
They can hear me.
Nobody can hear you. Brooke bought these on Amazon just for this. So we have to make sure that we do
You're not going to hear me chugging the milk. Nobody wants to hear that. You know how disgusting you are when you drink things, how loud it is? Put the microphone. Get the mic from here. Nobody wants to hear you chugging.
All right, here we go.
Here. Winners drink milk, guys.
Winners drink milk.
I've got 3 times the amount of it.
They're doing great.
They are.
This is a race. We got to. Yeah, I mean, you're
Man,
slaughtering.
I was gonna say he's really
Got it.
going for
Got
it.
it.
Good job.
Save them out, right? That's good. It's cold. I know. I like it because it's cold, right?
I know I'm wearing Purdue stuff, but that milk chuck took me back to my IU days.
You've got it in your beard. Would you clean yourself up?
This is what it's. This is
Yeah,
authentic.
I have
This
a
is the authentic experience.
You see this right here? Right? I peripherally work at the Speedway. I have a reputation and a standard to uphold, and you're walking around and you look terrible.
Can I wipe this real quick?
No, that is not going to happen.
Fastest rookie luncheon as well, Jake. I want to mention that. You and I are going to be
right.
co-emceeing that. Of course, you guys will be there, and our friends at American Dairy
I won't
Association
sleep
in
the night
Indiana.
before.
And we really appreciate, obviously,
Very
the Dairy
nervous.
Association starting to dribble a little bit for me. And all the support that they've given us on the show.
Do you guys mind if I walk away from it?
And we appreciate you guys as well. Best of luck coming up on race day, and thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank
thanks a lot.
you. Winners drink milk.
Clean yourself up, Derek. Derek, it is always fun to see our friends Brooke and, of course, Jenny and Sally from the American Dairy Association of Indiana. They have been very good to us over the years, so it is always a pleasure. And best of luck to the dairy farmers that will be presenting
Alex
that
and Abby.
milk. Alex
Yeah.
and Abby.
I rode the 2-seater with Alex.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
He loved it. Excuse me. He loved it. His helmet fit. So that added to the enjoyment of his experience. Yeah, that added to the enjoyment of his experience. Time for our Love That Play. It's brought to you by our friends at Love Heating and Cooling, 353-2141, love-hvac.com. They have been in business since
1920.
1920. That means they probably know what they're doing. In fact, I could say they have expert knowledge. They've been over and serviced our HVAC unit at my house, and we've had it in there for now 10 years. And we've had zero. Actually, when we've had an issue, we had a coil issue one time, and we had like some sort of a cork with the water or something like that. They came over, they fixed it in like under an hour.
They're the best.
Just bang. You call them up. Yeah, we'll be there between 1 and 3. They're there. They're friendly. They take care of it. Bang. No problem. 353-2141. Love-HVAC.com.
It makes me think of the Pacers hitting a 3 in the playoffs when you say bang. But anyway.
Bang! Can we let me make a statement. I agree that...
By the way, Kristen John Love, I told you they were born on the day that Gordon Johncock won the Indy 500 his first time. Their birthday coming up.
Okay, great.
It's still this year. It's still in May.
Yeah. The Knicks coverage was over the top. Don't lose sleep over it. That's how they do it. If the Lakers were playing the Pacers, it'd be the same thing.
Right.
If it's all about the stars, it's all about the big markets. I know it makes people upset, but that's just how it is. The Stephen A. stuff was embarrassing, really. But that's just
he's
that's
a
how
Philly
they do
guy.
business.
When did he become a Knicks fan?
Who knows? I think he came up in Philly, but he's a native New Yorker, right? Okay. But he was like Philly Daily News or whatever, and then that's how he became famous. I chose a fever play. They had 17,000 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Monday night, which is just insane. Aaliyah Boston's block led to a Caitlin Clark 3 from the logo, and it was kind of the first, like, holy bleep moment of Caitlin Clark's career. And the Fever collapsed down the stretch. I thought that was a real iffy moving screen call.
Is Aaliyah Boston catching some heat from people? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, on social media and stuff. I mean, there's just a lot more attention on these Fever games than there has been in the past. And you've got a lot of people kind of airdropping in for this. They're 0-4, right? There's still a long, long way to go, and they're not going to do anything this season.
They've played 4 very good games, good teams, right?
Yeah, and they've played 4 games against really good teams. They've been together for 3 weeks. Caitlin Clark has been on the roster for 23 days.
Yeah.
So let's give this some time to grow. But I think that was the first kind of preview of what this team could be. Boston being the 1A, Clark being the 1B, the block into the transition 3 from Erica Wheeler just leaving it 4. I think hopefully we're going to see a whole lot more of that.
I would agree that, look, I know people are excited about Caitlin Clark. It is an entire team. And Aaliyah Boston's a wonderful player. They've got good players around. You got to wait for them to gel. Don't forget, we talk about Pacers and Racers. The Pacers team that first broke through against the Knicks, they were under 500, 45 games into the year. So it takes a while.
Takes a minute, that's for sure. We come back. We've only got a couple of minutes left. And we'll do so with Bide or Bull Bleep and a big, big award for our friends at Chateau Kitchens, which I want to tell you about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Come back and wrap up the show next. Corey and Schultz, presented by Bailey & Wood Financial Group, here on the ISC Sports Network.
Tonight.
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Final time. Bailey & Wood presents Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Alongside this empty chair, I'm Derek Schultz. Thanks so much to our great sponsors today, which I thought we'd shout out now, Vince, if that's okay, before the end of the show. I know we always kind of hustle through it at the very end when Vince is giving me the wrap-up like this in the back. But Bailey & Wood Financial Group, of course, our friends at Chateau Kitchens, who we'll talk about a little bit more here in just a little bit. Hoagies and Hops and Chili Water Tap Room at 42nd and Boulevard. Winners Drink Milk and our friends at the American Dairy Association Indiana. And Love Heating and Cooling for sponsoring our show in this entire month of May today. Congratulations to Stephen Moore and Chateau Kitchens and the Mouse Pals team. You know, the Visionary of the Year award for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It was won by Stephen. So Steven's team raised $160,000.
Unbelievable.
Just their team.
Unbelievable.
For the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And just throw for him, I shot him a text over the weekend. He said it was one of the best nights of his life. What a cool thing to keep the legacy of Mallory, his fiance, who succumbed to leukemia, alive. And congratulations for everybody. I think he had like 70-something people on that fundraising team. $160,000. I mean, to put it in perspective, that's what Jake makes over the IndyCar season from IndyCar Radio. Yeah. $160,000. I mean, that's crazy. That's a huge amount of money. So congratulations to Steven and the Chateau team for that. Cool. I saw your W-2 one time, and it was tough for me. Bite or bold bleep. Here's what we do. I give a statement. Jake and I go back and forth whether we buy it or it's bold bleep. Statement 1. Kyle Larson's going to finish on the podium. Bite or bold bleep?
Buy it. Buy it.
Yeah?
I think if he's running up towards – the only thing for Kyle Larson that's going to do him in my opinion – well, I mean, obviously there are other great drivers. He could get aggressive on a restart late and punch it a little too heavy. I could see that happening. I'm about to sneeze, by the way. But I buy it.
This race is so difficult. God, you're taking bathroom breaks and sneeze on the mic. You got to get lucky, too. You know, this race is tough to predict because even if you're a great driver, you could just have a bad day. And sometimes it's not even your fault.
You're right.
You have a bad pit stop. Remember what happened to the Ganassi cars last year? Can you finish the show? Are you okay?
I have allergies.
Remember the Ganassi cars last year? Or what was the Penske year where Newgarden drove off with the fuel hose still in? 2019?
I mean,
it was a disaster, right? Like
weird stuff happens.
You've had a lot of bad stuff happen. So I'm going to say bull bleep. And I think the world of Kyle Larson's ability as a driver, but this being his first time and the amount of good luck it takes to have a good run.
You know they come in threes for me. That's third.
That was me in college. Statement number 2.
Lasted about as long too. There.
Let's get that in post. That's not appropriate for the show. All right. Here we go. Let's gather ourselves here. Calm down. 3, 2, 1. Statement number 2. My document didn't say it. It had something to do with the NBA playoffs, and now I'm trying to think of what it was.
A team from a city that says Appalachia at the end of it will be in the NBA Finals.
At least one team?
Yeah.
Buy it or bold bleep? Buy it.
Okay.
Buy it. I really do think Minnesota's going to beat Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
How about this? This year we will see a first-time NBA champion.
Dallas has one, and Boston has one. I'm going to say bull bleep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Boston. Gun to my head, I think the NBA champion will be Boston.
Okay.
But what about you? You have to answer the bite or bull bleep, too.
What was the question?
Appalachia wins the championship. Bite or bull bleep? Minneapolis or Indiana wins the championship?
Both Schultz. I think Boston. Even
Boston
though I said Pacers in 6. It's going to be weird for Boston to win it after the Pacers.
Yeah, that'll be hard. That'll be difficult. Hope you have a great race. I know it's a great morning for you. I've seen you on Race Morning. I mean, it's cool. One of the highlights, and I get off my bike and I'm kind of sweaty. I get in my change of clothes. I go up to the media center, is the embrace. You know, Jake and I always meet in the media center. We do the hand and the hug. You know, have a good race, buddy. You too, pal. I think at the 100th he said I love you, which meant a lot to me.
I don't recall any of that.
It's one of the highlights. It's one of the highlights for me.
I don't have any.
So have a great race. I know I'll see you there.
The whole morning is a zone and a blur, but I don't remember that at all.
Let me tell you, too, and I can say this on the air, I'm proud of you. I'm proud. I know this is a dream for you to be able to get to do this.
That I do remember you saying.
And I'm proud of you I know how much this means to you, and people really love the in memorandum that you do on the radio network. I think it means a lot to people in all seriousness. And it's a great broadcast, and people still really enjoy it. I mean, we do sometimes talk about the TV ratings for the race and how many people are listening, how many people are watching right now. But we do know for at least the 500, it's still very, very sentimental and meaningful to people.
It's cool to be a part of it. Yeah. Let's just hope they get it in one day.
And you think of all the broadcasters, man, that have been on that list that you join kind of by default, but still the fact that you're there. It's pretty incredible. Thanks to Vince. Thanks to JD. Good luck to our milk presenters as well. We'll see you next week, Memorial Day week, where we're recapping the race here on Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.